Hey, everybody. Welcome back to MaryBird's Backyard Garden. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mary.
And I'm your host here today, Mary, with the MaryBird Backyard Garden Show.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. You know, I'm sitting really short today.
You do look a little bit short.
I just realized that. Holy smokes.
What happened?
I don't know. I'm about like a foot shorter than you here.
It does look that way.
Wow.
But you did have this chair occupied by one of our sons. Maybe he raised my chair.
Golly. I don't know. I feel
I haven't been in here for a while.
Feels very weird. All right. Well.
Yeah, you do look tiny.
Yeah, I feel that way too. It's crazy. Anyhow, so Mary, what's happening? And more importantly, Mary, what's new in the garden this week?
It's been a great week. I've had so much fun.
Okay.
Yes, It's been a fabulous week.
Okay.
I have transplanted some canna lilies that we uprooted as we've been digging out our roses and put them in a giant container in front of our back porch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're coming along very nicely. It was a lot of fun. What else has been happening? Actually, it took a bit of time to do that. You know, you have to fiddle with it. You have to arrange them. You have to try to figure out what should go in front and what should go in back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took a great big pair of scissors and I whack-a-doodled on some of our silver ponyfoot, and I tucked it all around the canna lilies.
Those grow fast.
They do.
Those are actually pretty cool.
They root into the ground.
Cover.
They're a great ground cover.
Really good ground cover.
Love it. And the colors should look really pretty against the gray, against the green leaves.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy about that. And you've been mowing the grass. It looks beautiful.
Did you get I got the grass mowed. I'm kind of raised up the lawnmower one notch. So I'm not buzz cutting it anymore. Because it's time.
It's time.
You can really tell the difference too. Like the time, I should have raised it the time before, to be honest with you. But you can tell when it's really, really green, and then you cut it, and then it gets down to the area where it's more brown. So you gotta, and you shouldn't cut it. You shouldn't make that extreme of a cut. I kind of let it get a little long too, but.
Yes, I see, but that's okay.
Yeah, but this time I raised it up a notch, and it looks better. Looks healthier.
This is the first year that we've walked into the grass, and it's not a hard packed layer of dirt. Basically, it feels like a little
nice
cush.
It's it's really nice. It's a nice grass. You can walk back in your bare feet. It's very nice.
It is. It's great. You've done a very good job.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
I mean, it's been, we got to talk about the heat. It's been hot. It's been hot, Mary.
Getting hot.
Hasn't been temperature hot, though, which is weird. It's just been hot.
We have not had the hot weather like they have in the Midwest.
We haven't had, we didn't, you know what, they got some, and the thing in the Midwest and like in the Northeast, if it's 90 or 92, it's hot. I mean, it's brutal.
It's amazingly brutal, especially with the humidity.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is. It just feels a lot hotter. I mean, I'm a big baseball fan. I know a lot of the Major League Baseball players actually got sick playing in Cincinnati and places like that because of the heat it's that extreme. I mean, we're used to the 90s here, but I know everybody always says it, but it is a different 90 than when you're over there in those areas. So
it is.
Yeah, stay safe out there if you're in those areas.
Absolutely.
And if you're in this area too, because it's not saying it ain't hot, but it's hot. Anyhow, cool.
Yeah. So we made a pretty big purchase this week. A necessary purchase, but we looked for hoses.
Hoses.
Oh my goodness. Dragging those hoses all over the place is such a major chore. I finally cried uncle and said, please help.
I know. But the funny thing is, so I told Mary, I said, well, put together like a diagram of what you want.
I did.
We'll order them that way. That way we know what sizes to get and how many.
Yeah.
So Mary came in with her little graph paper with all her, I need one here and here and here. And we got them ordered, and they're not all the same. I've got some different kind. They're all for the most part, should be lightweight.
Yes, that's very important.
Yeah, I think they are all lightweight. And then, based on what we're using for, if it's one that's going to just we have one that'll go directly to where you're watering the one garden, that's not going to move. So I got a shorter one, and it wasn't necessary to get, one that was ultra lightweight for that. Mm-hmm. Just needed to make sure it fit. So, but I did get one that'll actually fit. Right now we have one running that's about 75 feet too long.
Yeah. That's pretty
so
funny.
We'll get that. I know. But you did that. You drew them out, and I took your little drawing, and I ordered them, and they should be here coming in here in the next few days.
I'm thrilled about it.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. It is hard.
Convenience is pretty amazing when you're out doing chores every day.
And it's funny. I'm big on checking before I buy stuff. I like to go out and get all the reviews and get people's opinions. And it's really funny on hoses. You really just don't get. There's not any one or two that everybody just says, "Oh, this is the greatest." Everybody complains about something. Which I get it. I mean, that's kind of a people thing. But so I tried to look past that and get ones that, I checked out some online reviews and some videos and went through all that and ordered different types. So I guess we'll see what happens when we get them.
Maybe we'll give a little report.
Yeah. The longer ones that I ordered, I got were the definitely the really lightweight ones, the kind of retractable, flexible ones, because those likely will pull out and then put back.
I don't remember the brand of the hose that is connected from the water spigot to the little kitchen garden right now. Do you happen to remember?
No, I don't know the brand. That's might be a Flexa hose, and I've got something similar to that for the longer hoses. So that one's actually done really well.
It has really done very well.
But there's some that we don't need to drag. From if you have to drag it from the front to the back, some of those are heavy.
Oh,
and then they're big. If they're 100-foot ones, they're brutal to take back and forth. So we're gonna get them all put in place, we'll see how that works out. We'll report back.
Lighten the load a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
Cool.
And we got I can't remember what they're called, but you could turn the water off. Say if you're going to walk from one place to another, you could turn the water off and then turn it on when you get ready to have the water. I can't think, but we got those little attachments.
I also bought a standalone spigot that you can put out, so you can attach the hose to it on one end from your house, and then you can attach your hose to the other side of it. So it kind of extends your hose a little bit, but it also, it's a spigot, so it has off and on.
That's nice.
We'll see.
That's going to be great.
I'm not sure where you wanted to put that, but you said you wanted one, so we got it, and we'll figure it out when it gets here.
I know. You're very kind. Thank you.
No problem.
But, okay, so I have harvested okra off of our okra plant.
Okay.
Very delicious. I'm getting excited about it. And I had a lesson from our neighbor that taught me how to, you kind of push on the tip of the okra. If it's very hard, then you've let it gone. It's gone too long. But if it's too soft, then it's too early.
Oh, okay.
You want to just push on the tip of it till it just barely gives. And that, is the perfect time to harvest it and eat it.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
I was quite excited about that.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, this is the first year our son gave us Malabar Spinach seeds, and I have been growing that plant. And so I was actually quite, what do you want to say, adventurous. And I tasted one, and it's delicious.
Yeah, you were kind of raving about it.
I tasted a younger leaf because I had read that you want to do that. It makes it a little bit more palatable, but I highly recommend it. And I've never eaten the Malabar spinach before, so I made sure I just tasted a very tiny bit, and I waited 24 hours. You know how you should always check yourself first, but no problems.
That's so funny.
Well, the funny thing is our son also sent some blue oyster mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
You're laughing at me for being hesitant, but you were freaked out by those mushrooms.
Those definitely freaked me out.
So it works both ways.
True.
But it's kind of fun and interesting.
Well, cool. That's cool. Yeah, I know you were excited to try the Malabar spinach.
I was.
That was something he had introduced you to.
Yes.
So.
And to tell you the truth, it is such a decorative plant as well. It's growing in amongst our Chinese yard-long beans, and they are kind of shading the ground a little bit. And so I don't know our hot season, if that is protecting the roots a little. And so I will say the blooms are gorgeous on the Malabar spinach. It's beginning to grow along the fence line, which is what we really wanted everything to do. And yeah, I would recommend it.
Okay.
I think it's very good leafy green substitute for lettuce in our hot weather.
Very well, cool. Yeah, give it a try.
Give it a try.
All right, I like it.
Recommendation
Something
there.
new. Yeah. All right. Anything else for what's new?
I don't remember any further.
Yeah, I don't think I had anything.
Garden.
I think hoses was the big thing.
Birds have flocked in like
a lot of birds.
Crazy.
Got the lizards, the birds.
So fun.
So the normal gang back there. All right. Well, let's move on. What do you have for the first topic of the day, Mary?
Recently, we went to a garden center near us. We went to the Hill Country Water Gardens, and in the front, right before we started shopping, there was a large container planting, and it had a purple-leafed coleus, and then spilling down over the front edge was a beautiful gray-leafed little plant that I didn't recognize, and it was a woolly stemodia.
Okay. Sounds like a dinosaur.
I kept pointing to the arrangement saying, "Oh, I love this."
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember.
No, I remember. It was right there in the front. It was nice. Yep.
So attractive. The two contrasting with each other was great. And so I kind of fell in love with that little plant. And I've been thinking about the container, and I think I would like to try to put together a planting.
Okay.
And so spent a little bit of time looking up the woolly stemodia.
Okay.
I know. It's actually a native plant here in Texas. It's native to the coastal region and South Texas and on over into Mexico. And the funny part about it is that it is the botanical name is Stemodia lanata, or sometimes tomentosa, Stemodia tomentosa. And it is a member, and I cannot say the name of the family, but it's a member of the figwort family.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the plant names.
The botanical description of that family is a little mouthful that I don't think I can fit.
Well, you can figwort. We'll go with figwort family.
It's also called a twin tip. It can be called a gray woolly twin tip is another name for it. So it is another one of those really good ground covers like our silver ponyfoot. And it will, grow across ground, and it's really good for dry areas. It also grows very well in sandy soils, and across our limestone, it does pretty well too. It didn't say it was native to the Blackland Prairie. I don't think it's native to the Edwards Plateau, but it will grow here nicely. It has silver grayish leaves that are very soft, and woolly stemodia because it has the woolly appearance to it. And the teeny tiny little white and lavender flowers from April to November, on and off. It spreads across the ground a lot like the silver ponyfoot. Wherever a juncture is, it will root into the ground, but it also spreads under the ground with stolons, sort of like in a way, kind of like how your Bermuda grass spreads a little bit too. But it's not invasive at all. It's very easy to control. It is salt tolerant. So if you live in an area with a high salinity level, this is a good one for you.
That's an odd thing to say, isn't it?
Well, it's coastal.
Okay.
Native to coastal Texas regions.
Well, that makes sense.
They get the salt
water
breeze and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I stand corrected.
But it loves sun, and it's low water plant. It's a host for several butterflies. It is a host for the dark tropical buckeye butterfly. And you could propagate it by seeds, and you could also do softwood cuttings where you take the cuttings before they turn really hard, and you clean off the bottom of the leaves, and you'll put them in some sterile potting soil, like seed starting mix, and you'll keep it just, moist. And you might want to put a little humidity cover over it, and it'll root that way for you. And the figwort family, interestingly enough, is in the snapdragon family.
Oh, wow.
And so this family used to encompass a lot of different plants, but through DNA analysis and so forth, they've been bringing it down and down and down. But I do believe it's still in with the snapdragons.
Okay.
I was surprised to learn
That is
that.
interesting.
Yeah. So, and in the container, I was trying to balance out how they were growing such a luscious coleus, which needs more water, together with the Stemodia, which needs a drier. So I was a little confused by that, unless maybe they're growing it in such a sandy soil that the water rushes out or something. But I was thinking in my planting, I might like to put in another native Texas plant and maybe put this in a larger container, which is called the Zexmenia. And we have 2 of these growing in our front garden.
We have Zexmenia?
We do. We do have this.
Didn't know that.
The botanical name for this is called the Wooddelia texana, also the Wooddelia hispida.
Oh, now I know.
Hispida.
No, I don't know.
The hispida part means hairy.
Okay.
And so that describes the stems and the leaves. But this little plant blooms. Let me tell you, this thing blooms as early in the spring as it could start out blooming, and it hasn't stopped. And it's turned out to be a gorgeous little subshrub in the garden. And so it's also called the Texas creeping oxeye. So the woolly Stemodia is going to cascade over the front of the container, of course, in my imagination. And then we will have this beautiful little 2 foot, it could get up to 2 feet tall, sort of a woody, shrubby plant. But both of them are very low water, very sunshine loving plants. And this one is a perennial. Both of them are perennials. Now, further south from us in Texas, they'll stay evergreen, both of them all winter. Here in our area where we get a bit of frost, they might die back to the ground, just like our silver ponyfoot does, and then come back out for us come the spring. But they're both hardy, and this one says zone 7 through 9 for the Zexmenia, and the Stemodia, I don't think I put down zones for him, but I do. Oh, I'm sorry, I did. He goes from zones 8 to 11. So both of them will do really great in a container for our area.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to put something in a container, you want it to be 2 zones lower so it'll go through the winter without bringing it in. The one thing about this one, the Wooddelia texana, is that it is kind of attractive to deer. They like to nibble at it a little bit, but they won't kill it. They'll nibble it down, and then it'll regrow for you. And that's actually not bad. During the long growing season and blooming season, you could shear it back a little bit to encourage it to be bushy and produce more blooms for you. And the blooms are gorgeous. They are sort of a golden orange or yellow orange, and it's called the oxeye because it has a little button in the middle and then petals that spread out. It's a member of the aster family, and it's going to bloom from early spring to late fall. It is a really good host for the bordered patch butterfly and the yellow sulfur butterfly.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful.
I like the butterfly attractors.
I do too. This one can also be propagated through seeds or cuttings. Now, Jeffy's going to love this one. One of the plants that grows really well with the Zixmenia is a plumbago.
Hey, nice. Okay.
You like that one,
I do like
know.
the plumbago.
Maybe that could be our thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we already have a spiller.
We got the spiller in the Woolly Stemodia.
Yeah.
And this is our filler.
All right.
It would grow really well with an agave. Also, I saw the most beautiful border plantings with a large agave and the Zixmenia growing around it. It was quite lovely. Anyway, salvias would grow really well with it, especially your Salvia greggii. In the winter, you want to cut it back by half to keep the bushy growth. And then, like I said, prune it a little bit during the year. And what else can I tell you about this? Oh, I only found this mention in one source, and it said that it was a distant relative of the sunflower.
Oh, wow. That's
Could
interesting.
be. That could be. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, it would go great in cottage gardens and rock gardens. And the genus Wooddelia is a grouping of creeping oxeyes that they kind of spread along the ground. And it was described by George Wolfgang Weddell, who was an 18th century botanist.
All right. I love the history.
I do too. But I couldn't find a lot of mention of history on these two plants.
Interesting.
Just a tiny little bit.
You're going to give these a try. I like it.
I really am excited about it.
I know you did like that planting we saw over there at the
And
nursery.
I might try that. It was simple.
I like your idea.
It was so contrasting and very effective. You never know.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll do too, but I like this idea.
I do too.
All right, very good.
Especially if it has a plumbago, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's got to have plumbago.
Got to have a plumbago. Of soft blue plumbago with this like butterscotchy orange Zixmenia, and then the silvery gray Stemodia. Oh, yeah.
Woo.
Maybe that's a winning combination.
Okay, we're going to give it a shot, I think.
Let's do it.
I like it. Very good.
So I am very excited to see what's in this week's.
Well, welcome to Jeff's Corner.
Jeff's Corner.
I have a mixed bag of stuff today. So first thing I have to say, I was out there messing around on the internet web. We talked about chaos gardening last week, and lo and behold, this comes up as like one of a topic in the news for gardening.
Oh, okay.
So the
Interesting.
Pennsylvania Horticultural Society has a big article about chaos gardening. Embrace the wild side of your garden. And I thought that was funny.
Embrace the wild side.
Because I never heard of it before until you brought it up. And then now it just seems to be like a thing.
A thing.
So you're very trendy. I just wanted to let you know. So I had that. I also we like to go to estate sales. Every now and again. But we did go to an estate sale. We found a cool camera there. And I like photography. And I found a medium format film camera. Mm-hmm. And you and I have talked about medium format for a long time just because, I don't know why, it just is appealing.
It's very fascinating.
It is appealing. So we found really an unbelievable deal. The person's estate was selling a camera, 2 lenses, a bunch of accessories, and kind of everything you need, basically. Mm-hmm. And we got a great deal on it. And so we picked that up. Now, I've spent the last week, it is way different than using a 35 millimeter camera. Mm-hmm. And so I'm having to go through a lot of tutorials to figure out how you load film and do all that stuff. I'm not there yet, but it is pretty exciting. We did pick up some film. But I was just going to quickly go through, like, what is the difference between the 35 millimeter, which is what you normally think about camera, and a medium format, which takes in the film version takes a 120 size film. Now, it's a digital world, so most cameras that are considered full frame digital at this point are basically 35 millimeter, and they do make medium format digital cameras as well. So everything's out there digital. But this is a film camera. And, one of the things is that obviously 35 millimeter is going to have a smaller frame size. And when you're buying film, one of the things that I wasn't aware of until I started looking at it and we bought the film is when you buy 35 millimeter film, you usually get like 24, 36 exposures on the film. The medium format's going to be a lot less. So it could be anywhere from 15, 16 to 8. So,
wow. Okay.
And then we bought a couple things of film, and I'll be honest with you, when we bought them, I just assumed they were that much. So we'll have to go back and look at that. But I'm assuming that we either got 16 or 12 shots on the ones we bought. The thing that is that people like the medium format, and medium format is when, if you look at the old like fashion photographers and stuff, they mostly use those because they have a much larger negative size, and they give you a shallower depth of field, so you get more blur in the background, but your subject is a lot clearer, and it just gives you more. I'll say it in a digital, you have a lot more pixels to work with. And then also on the, like, sharpness and the grain. So you're going to see like grainy. If you look at old photos, they look grainy. You're going to see a lot more of that on a 35 millimeter than you would a medium format. But, one of the things, like, what are you going to use it for? So medium format, it's big.
It is a little on the heavier side.
They're bigger.
Not too uncomfortable.
No, it's not bad. But, you're mostly using these. So you would use a 35 millimeter if you're going to do like just everyday walking around, if you're going to do like, any kind of action, bird photography, any of that stuff. You need a 35 millimeter because you're going to need to be able to move with it, and you need faster speed. What the medium format's good for is portraits. Mm-hmm. It's great for landscapes, anything where you can just kind of sit and take your time. And that's kind of the advantage to it, is it makes you take your time, really kind of focus in things. So you're not getting things that are moving. You're getting, product photography.
Maybe a garden still life?
Garden, yeah. I mean, if you took it out in the garden and, you want to take pictures of the flowers or the plants, it'd be great for that. So we're going to give it a shot. I'm
very excited
keep
about
learning
it.
how to use it, and I'm excited.
The one thing that's pretty interesting about it is the viewfinders. You have a choice of how you want to view. What do I want to say? Like, you could look through the camera in several different ways.
Yeah,
you don't have to just hold it up to your eyes.
Right.
Straight on and look through it, which I was quite excited about when you showed me that.
You can do the waist level where you're looking down at it.
Level.
The one thing about the one that we bought, which is a Maya one, is that everything kind of comes off and on. I mean, you can change the viewfinder from a prism to a waist level one. You can they have what are called film backs. So you can put film, you put it into the back and then you attach the back to the camera, which the big advantage of that is, say you're out, you can have one film back that has color film and one that has black and white, and you can switch them out. It's not hurting anything to make that switch while you're out in the field. So you can use both.
You won't ruin your exposure.
You won't ruin anything. Yeah, cool. 35 millimeter, once you put the film in, you're doing it. So, and this is old school, so this is film. I mean, I realize a lot of people don't use film.
I kind of feel excited about that.
Film is making a comeback. I think a lot of the younger people, and we have a son that's the same way. I think they have so much overload on electronics that it's really kind of swinging back to kind of being in vogue again. A lot of film is making a comeback. People, and some of the companies are making new film again, which is kind of cool.
That's great.
You still they don't have the 1 hour drop offs like the old days, but you can definitely take them places and get them developed, or you could do it at home. I mean, there's a lot of in-home kits too that you can do it. So we're going to give it a shot, and once I figure out, we'll take it out and give it a run and let you guys know what we find out about it. But
were you thinking of prowling through the chaos garden with our medium format camera? Is that why you were linking the two?
We might do that. I mean, the thing is you can hold it, or you can get a little tripod. It just anything where you can take your time. And so those would be, our garden in the back would be great for that.
It would, wouldn't it? I think so too.
Yeah. So I had that. And then we have the July 4th is coming up this weekend.
Wow, that has come so fast.
Been right
I'm
around
surprised by it.
Yes. And just a couple, we like our Texas A&M AgriLife, and they just had a few things to be careful about. So be careful of the heat. If you're in Texas, it's going to be hot. And other places evidently are hot too. So stay hydrated and take breaks. And I know a lot of people like to get out on July 4th and go do a lot of things because they're off work and such. But, be careful out there. And if you're preparing your food, make sure that, you're preparing it the correct way. So make sure you store, any undercooked foods. You want to make sure everything's cooked correctly. You want to store it correctly. So bacteria can cause foodborne illnesses. They grow rapidly in the danger zone between 40 degrees and 140 degrees. So cold foods should be kept chilled, and hot foods should be kept above 140 degrees if you can. And you don't want to leave stuff out. I mean, a lot of times you're out grilling and stuff, and a lot of people, and you tend to leave your stuff out, but you don't want to leave anything out, any more than 2 hours. 2 hours is a lot. So anything perishable, you want to make sure you keeping an eye on. Keep everything cold that's supposed to be cold, and keep things hot. Wash your hands, and then of course, if you got mosquitoes, and I think Mary's gonna help us with some mosquito thing. Be careful of mosquitoes out there, and just be careful if you're out there on the 4th of July. So have fun, but be careful. Now,
I love that topic.
I have one more topic for you.
Oh, good. This is a great Jeffy's Corner.
It is watermelon season, and we like our watermelon.
We do love our watermelon.
So, Mary, do you know how you look for a sweet, perfect watermelon?
I do not really. I know how to do a cantaloupe, and I try to do, you sniff the end.
There's no sniffing on this one. So watermelon sweetness is measured what is called a Brix scale. Did you know about that?
We have one of those.
Okay.
Refractometer.
It indicates the sugar content. And so 10 is considered standard, and 11 to 12 would be a melon that is extra sweet.
Ooh.
So just a couple tips. So you want to find the yellow belly or the field spot on them. So if the watermelon's right, and that's the spot where the watermelon's been laying on the ground. That's where it's been kind of resting. So if the watermelon's ripe, the field spot should be a large yellow patch on one side. Color should be creamy, almost butter-like yellow. The bigger the yellow belly and the creamier the color, the more time the melon ripened on the vine.
Oh,
and
interesting. Okay.
Would be sweeter. If the spot's small or looks more white than yellow, it may not be a ripe one. And then the old standard, tap the underbelly and listen for a deep sound. So you can take it and tap it. A ripe melon will have a deeper sound as opposed to an overripe one. A hollow thud paired with an oversized yellow spot means the melon may be mealy and overripe. Oh,
yeah, I don't like it when we get those.
I don't like those either. And then the third is look for a dull color. Look for dull color and heavy watermelon. So a shiny watermelon means that the insides are underripe. And the best melon of the bunch will likely be the heaviest one. So a heavier melon likely holds more water. On average, the watermelon is 92% water.
Wow.
Which I didn't realize. So the best ones are dull in color and heavy. Oh, there's your watermelon. That is a
lot of tips.
Yeah, there's your watermelon tips. Straight from the Texas A&M AgriLife.
Now, I do have to tell you, your watermelon vine is taking off like a rocket in the garden.
It is.
And it's been producing the yellow flowers. So I'm getting pretty excited.
Yeah, I know we are growing some. Let's see. Hopefully they come out okay.
I hope they do too.
But now we know when to pick them. That's always my biggest thing. I like growing the stuff, and I never know when they're done. So I have 2 peppers out there right now that look pickable, but I want to. They may. I think peppers you can, like jalapeno peppers and stuff. I think you can pick kind of whenever, but I don't want to let it go too far either, where it's done. So I think they might be pickable this weekend.
They might
for the July 4th. Weekend.
Oh, I can't wait to have some watermelon.
Cool. All right. Well, that is all I had for Jeff's Corner.
And a delightful Jeff's Corner it's been as well.
Well, thank you. Now, I kind of hinted at your next topic a bit.
You did.
I'm going to kick it over to you.
It's kind of surprising how we're often in the same lane.
Isn't that amazing?
I know. It's amazing.
Just amazing. Can't tell we've been married for many, many, many moons. What do you have for us?
Well, recently, in the last week or so, we were sitting on the back porch, as we love to do, and I spied a unwelcome visitor, a mosquito. Not happy about it. So I think last week when I talked about what's up for the new week, I talked about putting out mosquito buckets. But I have actually learned a few things about the mosquito buckets, and it's a very effective method for you to help control the mosquito population in your backyard without harming beneficial insects, birds, other critters that you have, frogs and things like that in your garden. So I am all for it. And I did set up several in our backyard. So what I'm talking about is it's been called the bucket of doom on the internet. But you want to choose a, fairly good sized bucket, 3 to 5 gallons in capacity. A lot of people do recommend a darker color. I read some people that say it doesn't matter, but you could make it decorative in a decorative flower pot that you're not going to put a flower in, all the way down to utilitarian in just a bucket you get from the hardware store. Yep. We actually use some estate sale finds. We use some of the coal carriers that we have. Yeah,
they look good though. Yeah, and they look nice.
But anyway, what you want to do is you want to buy mosquito dunks. And I think I might have talked about this just for a little bit last week. But you're going to buy yourself a mosquito dunk from your local garden center or grocery store. And they have inside of them a naturally occurring bacteria that's found in soil. It's called Bacillus thuringiensis israeliensis. And the thing about this is it's not going to hurt humans. It's not going to hurt your pets, and it won't hurt birds or, like I said, your beneficial insects, things like that. I get the big dunks. I like them because I could just plop one into the bucket and it lasts for 30 days. You could also, if you want to be a little more conservative, in one of those buckets, all you really need is a quarter of the dunk. So you could break it apart if you want to. Or you could buy it in granule form and you put like a teaspoon in your bucket, but you have to do that every 7 to 14 days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And what I learned is that mosquitoes like to get in there in a dark, swampy-ish type of atmosphere. So you take a handful of, say, grass clippings or yard clippings. It doesn't need to be a lot, and put it in the water. And so what happens is the vegetation begins to decay, and it releases a little bit of carbon dioxide, and the mosquitoes are attracted. That's why they're attracted to us, because we breathe out carbon dioxide. Anyways, so they'll be attracted to that food source, and they'll go in and they'll lay their eggs. And I learned that not all mosquitoes deposit their eggs in the same place. Some are surface depositing mosquitoes, some are under the water, and some will place it on a stick or leaf a little bit outside of the water, so that as the bucket fluctuates in water level, the eggs will hatch at different times. So that brings me to my next tip, is to put a stick into the water.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the stick is going to aid two ways. It's going to help have a method of exit for birds, frogs, beneficial insects, and things like that get in there. And the second thing is that the mosquito might lay its eggs on the stick, and then when you fill the bucket up and down, those eggs will hatch. And what this bacteria does is it does not work on the adult population of mosquitoes or the eggs. When the larvae hatch from the eggs, they're only alive for about 5 days. So the bacterium infects the larvae.
Oh, okay.
And then they won't be able to produce any more babies.
It's a lot more complicated than I thought.
It is.
Wowzer.
But we, in our backyard, we have barn swallows. I know that bats are very big feeders on mosquitoes. So you're not ever going to reduce the population of mosquitoes enough to impact the food source for those guys either. But you will reduce the impact on you in your own backyard.
Nice.
And I learned that, honestly, one bucket is probably enough for a standard suburban lot where your house is. But you know me, I went overboard. I put out a lot.
That's okay.
Because I just don't like
We want to make sure. Yeah, double sure.
Sure. You want to put your bucket kind of in a shady area, and you want to walk around your yard and get rid of all other water sources that could provide breeding grounds, because you want to attract the mosquitoes to your buckets.
Makes sense.
Now, we have 2 bird watering trays, and I put a dunk in the tray because it's not going to hurt. It's not going to bother the birds. And I don't want to, take a chance on the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of people that raise livestock and horses, they use these dunks in the water trough to help control the population that way too.
Okay.
You do want to be cautious. You do want to be cautious in this way. if you have small children that love to splash in the water, I would encourage you to cover the bucket and keep the children out of there. Mm-hmm. It needs to be a still surface, so you don't want anything that's going to agitate the surface or whatever that. But use common sense. In our yard, we do have the fencing that we talked about last week. So if I'm taking it out into the yard, just as a precaution, I put it inside the fencing to keep it away from the dogs. Yeah. But if they got into it by accident, I don't think it would hurt anything. Let's see, what else can I tell you about? I found a lot of information on a blog called Homegrown National Park, and it was founded by Doug Ptolemy, which is really interested in helping us develop really good ecological systems in our yards and gardens. Very informative. So I would encourage you to go out and look for the Bucket of Doom.
The Bucket of Doom,
Bucket of Doom.
Well, it's a lot more complicated. I thought you just filled some buckets, threw the things in, and moved on. But I like it.
A little bit more strategic.
It is.
But you should give about 2 weeks, and you will notice a pretty sharp decrease in the population of mosquitoes.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Anything to make it more comfortable.
Yes. Well, thank you for that.
You're most welcome.
Mosquito buckets.
Mosquito bucket of doom.
All right. Well, I know that's all the topics you had, but what are we looking at next week?
Next week is probably going to be a bit laborious. We have one overgrown, out-of-hand garden border that I think we're just going to have to roll our sleeves up and tackle.
Can we just call it a chaos border and move on?
We could. We could do that. We need to clear the Bermuda first.
Okay. All right.
We have to really get in there and clear out the Bermuda and plant our prickly pear cactus that we have planted.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, he's sitting there. He just hasn't planted yet.
Haven't planted him.
All right, we'll get him.
And that is going to be a pretty big job.
Yeah. And then we'll have the hoses in, so maybe we'll probably set those up too.
I'm thrilled.
All right. Anything else for us today, Mary?
That completes my knowledge source for the week.
Well, awesome. Hey, everybody. Again, we appreciate you guys joining us here. If you like the podcast, give us a like and a rating out there on your favorite podcast listening site. And we'll be here next week, as we've been for many, many weeks now,
For
Mary.
many weeks.
Yes.
And I wish you all happy summer gardening.
Yes, happy summer gardening. And hey, stay careful out there on July 4th. Stay out of the heat. If you can, enjoy your family. See you next week here at MaryBird's Backyard Garden.